Dodge this.
This is Sparta!
I have an army. We have a Hulk.
Say hello to my little friend! Say what again?
I want to make him an offer again.
Voice is strong.
You talking to me?
Ladies and gents, welcome to this, the 15th 1-5 episode of the BTG MovieCast. I'm your host, Stephen Nagel.
I'm your co-host, Dean Ravel.
And what we usually do here is we talk about a topic related to film. Last month we chatted about ruining franchises.
Correct.
And like all the films that kind of ruin the awesome franchises. Before that we discussed unpopular opinions, so you can check both of those podcasts out and previous episodes at btglifestyle.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at btglifestyle, as well as Instagram at btglifestyle, and Facebook at facebook.com/btglifestyle. Dean, what are we discussing today?
So today we're going to take a look back at some of the unfortunate passings of some of our favorite actors and actresses, ones that have gone too soon, too early on in their career, relatively young, but also had a bright career ahead of them. A lot of works in the pipeline. So this is almost an in memoriam kind of podcast. And we'd like to, just kind of give our top 10 people or actors and actresses who have gone too soon.
And it's not necessarily actors or actresses who are very young. Some of them were not necessarily that young when they passed away. But it's just like we think that there was so much more to them and so much more that they could give the world. So, without further ado, this is our list of top 10 actors and actresses who were taken away from us too soon.
Absolutely. So the first one on our list, and it's quite apropos because of the latest Fast and the Furious installment that's just been released not too long ago, Fast and Furious 8. The first one on our list is Paul Walker. So Paul Walker, a lot of you will know, is pretty much synonymous with the Fast and the Furious franchise. He passed away a few years ago, ironically and tragically, in a car accident. Paul Walker was 40 years old when he passed away, and obviously there were still plans for him to be well established in the Fast and the Furious franchise. He actually didn't finish his latest film that he was in, so he had to get in his brother that he do some very interesting filming and editing, using some footage from previous films, CGI and a lot of different techniques to make sure that the film actually did finish. Obviously the film was dedicated to him as well, and they pretty much had to end off his story within the Fast and the Furious franchise. So that's definitely a death that for us was one that was quite sudden, quite abrupt, and definitely one that has left a mark on anyone who loved the franchise.
I mean, people love the franchise, but a lot of people that also liked Paul Walker because I mean he was quite a philanthropist and humanitarian individual. So I mean, like that's also a loss to the world in that sense.
Absolutely. I've only ever heard people saying like amazing things about him, and a lot of people, like we say, he's synonymous with Fast and Furious, but he's also made quite a few other films as well. He was in Takers, he was in 8 Below, and even She's All That. He's really had quite a good career, and unfortunately he was taken away from us too soon.
So next on our list is, at number 2, is Aaliyah. Most notably known for her singing, but she was moving into film as well.
Absolutely, and she's actually the youngest on our list. She died at the age of 22. A lot of people will remember her from Romeo Must Die, a film with Jet Li and DMX. She was also in Queen of the Damned.
Which was her last film.
Our last film. There's a lot of potential in her career as both a singer and an actress. And it's definitely one that has kind of left a mark even now, on the Hollywood scene. There's no telling what she could have achieved had she not passed away. So she's number 2 in our list.
I mean, she was kind of like the R&B world's like kind of good girl. And like girl next door type of thing. And people only had good things to say about her. Even before she passed away. So that was really. She had quite an impact at a very young age on a lot of people. And it's sad that she passed away.
Absolutely. Number 3 on our list is also a relatively young actor who had a massive career ahead of him, Thompson Young. So he passed away at the age of 29, but he was well established in both film and TV, mostly TV actually. He starred in quite a few series. He was in Rizzolian Isles, Smallville, Scrubs. Probably his breakout role was as the famous Jet Jackson, which a lot of people our age will actually remember because we watched that when we were young. He was just coming up as an actor, but he had a massively he was massively talented and a huge career ahead of him. I remember he was also in Flash Forward, which is a series
that got cancelled.
It got cancelled, as well. But it just shows he's been in a lot of different TV series, and what comes with that is that a lot of people got to know him, got to work with him, got to love him. Hugely talented and sorely missed.
I sometimes wonder what his career would look like in 2017.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just think that he had massive potential, and he's such a memorable face as well.
Yeah.
So I had actually, like, for the last few months, not known that he had passed away.
Yeah.
Like, I just didn't know. I thought he was one of those actors that I just hadn't seen around for a long time. But yeah, it's really sad because he had a lot of talent, and he was that type of guy that was being cast in things, and you could kind of see that progression happening, and it would have just been a matter of time before he was cast in like a Marvel film or something. You know,
it's funny you mention that, because I'm of the firm belief that, you know, had he still been alive today, he would be challenging for roles with Michael B. Jordan, with Chadwick Boseman, with a lot of other, even you know, he played Cyborg in Smallville. Who's to say he wouldn't have played Cyborg in the DC universe now? So, you know, definitely a huge talent that unfortunately we won't be able to see any more films of.
Yeah.
So number 4 on our list, Brittany Murphy.
Yeah.
So Brittany Murphy, a lot of people will know, is a very likable actress. She played a lot of quite lovable characters, but she was also, you know, she was in Sin City, where she had a little bit of fire to her, but she was in Clueless, where, you know, she was also very young and very naive. She was a very well-rounded, but also quite likable character
and funny.
actor.
I mean, Just Married as well.
Absolutely.
Like,
she was super hilarious as well. So unfortunately she passed away at the age of 32. Also had, I think, a bright future ahead of her as well. Yeah, I
mean, like, she's just kind of that face you were used to seeing in so many things. She was popping up all over the show. She had so much range as well. Like, very serious roles, funny roles, and it's just it's a pity that she was taken to.
Absolutely. I mean, she had this kind of, like, she could play very wholesome characters, but she also had this hint of madness to her as well.
Exactly.
Like, I could have seen her play like a Harley Quinn. Like, I could have seen that actually be the case, which isn't too bad to think about. Like, she had quite a bit of range, and definitely a talent that is missed. Number 5 is also an actor that, like we said before, isn't relatively young, but he's one that had an amazing career. It's Philip Seymour Hoffman. He passed away at the age of 46, but he had quite a few films that he had starred in that were absolutely amazing, and it was in the pipeline as well. He was Truman Capote in the film Capote. He
won the Oscar for that.
He won the Oscar for that. He was also in the critically acclaimed Doubt with Meryl Streep. But he wasn't just a serious actor. He did some action films. He was in Mission Impossible 3. He did some comedies. He was in Along Came Polly, which I also had just watched recently again. He was fantastic in that film. I absolutely loved him. So hilarious. He was also in The Hunger Games. Yeah. And unfortunately, that was one of his last projects that he was in. So he definitely had an amazing career, one that had quite a bit of everything. He was also relatively young when he started in his acting career. So definitely a talent that I think, you know, is going to be quite missed, especially if you think about all the films that in a few years you might think, oh, that's totally a Philip Seymour Hoffman role kind of thing. So yeah, definitely one on our list that's going to be missed.
Yeah, true. So, I mean, all I can say about this guy is that amazingly talented. He had a very recognizable face, but when he was taking on a role, he would vanish into that character, and it's a very difficult thing for someone to suspend your disbelief on that level.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah.
Next on our list is Brandon Lee. So for those of you who don't know, Brandon Lee is the son of Bruce Lee. And he starred in quite a few films like Showdown Little Tokyo. He was also in The Crow, but unfortunately on the set of The Crow is where he passed away. He was actually shot accidentally on the set of The Crow, and later led to his death. He passed away at the age of 28. You know, it's one of those deaths where there's no telling what he could have actually done with his career. He was very talented, like his father, in terms of a very fit, very kind of action driven. But he did have some emotional range to his performances as well.
Yeah, and I mean, the interesting thing is The Crow was the film where he actually, for the first time, if you look at his filmography, actually displayed his prowess as an actor and his range. Yeah. And it's sad that had to be the film where he also died.
Yeah.
Because if you look at his filmography before, it was like very much action and kung fu kind of things that he was involved in. So, yeah, I mean, it's just crazy to think about where The Crow might have taken his career had he not died at such a young age.
Yeah.
So it's very unfortunate. And yeah, I mean, The Crow is something that I remember watching as when I was a lot younger. I remember watching The Crow, and it was one of those kind of like very dark films, and it's like one of those very early comic book films, essentially.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was a brilliant portrayal of its time. I mean, there's been talk about like a reboots and things, but that none of that has taken off. And I think it's definitely the type of film, and very much based on his performance and what he brought to that character, that will stand the test of time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, gone too soon, definitely.
Yeah. Number 7 on our list is Andy Whitfield. So for those of you who are quite familiar with the Starz series Spartacus, he played the title role of Spartacus in that, and he was also an actor that kind of became synonymous with that. I mean, I love that series, and he was a major part of my appreciation for that series. Yes. He did an outstanding job. He was also an Australian actor who came over, and that's quite a big trend these days if you think about it, with like Hugh Jackman, Chris Hemsworth, and so on. And he was also quite a physical presence as well. You know, he stood up and kind of went head to head with actors like Manu Bennett. He also was you know, he formed quite an emotional bond as well with Jay Courtney, who played Varro in the series as well. Yeah. So there was a lot of different aspects to his character. One, that he had to be physical, but he also had to have this kind of emotional side to him.
Exactly.
And
I was just going to say, the way he played like vulnerability and also like strength in that role was absolutely amazing. Yeah. And I mean, he wasn't known for that much prior to his role in Spartacus. Yeah. He had done a few things, but not as kind of like mainstream as Spartacus. Yeah. And when he took this role of Spartacus, it was just, he just did something with it. And I was, after the first season wrapped, I was so looking forward to seeing him in more. Yeah. And then I obviously heard the news that he had gotten very sick and passed away. Yeah. And I was just like,
No, definitely.
I think he had still, he appeared in 2 episodes of, I think the second season.
Gods of the Arena.
Yeah. But that was it. After that, he passed away, and while the series itself didn't kind of crumble, it actually went on to tell some amazing stories and focus on other characters who were very captivating as well. There was always that wow, what could have been? You know, what would Spartacus have been had he still been alive?
I honestly think it would have been a launch pad for his career. I mean,
yes, definitely.
He passed away at the age of 39, so it wasn't exactly too young. But at the same time, he was still getting started in his career. Yeah. And we know you're never basically too young to get started. And this would have been an amazing launch pad for him. And ultimately it was. Unfortunately, he did pass away. Number 8 on our list is Anton Yelchin. Yeah. So Anton Yelchin, a lot of you will know from the Star Trek franchise that's currently taking place. He's an actor that was very young and also had a bright future ahead of him. He passed away at the age of 27. People would also know him from, I think, Odd Thomas.
Yeah, Odd Thomas. I mean, that's the first role that I remember seeing him in. Yeah. And I was like, this dude is good.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
I mean, I enjoyed that story and how it was being told and how odd it was. Yeah. You know, it was kind of like this uncanny type of story being told and this weirdness. But what he brought to that was, I don't know, it was just really an interesting performance in my opinion. Yeah. And, you know, like he also starred in Green Room recently, and he's again one of those actors that kind of vanishes into the roles. And the cool thing was that he had projects in mainstream, but also like indie projects. Correct. He was one of those guys who never kind of like made his career about the mainstream, even though he had complete access and his name had kind of that clout in the industry. Yeah, he didn't just run after the big roles. He worked with artists as well, and he was an artist himself.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's a talented actor that unfortunately has passed away too soon, and who knows what he could have achieved, you know, in his acting career.
Very true.
Number 9, and this is a very, very kind of emotional one for us because we absolutely love the franchise, and we mentioned it in our previous one, the Star Wars franchise. Number 9 on our list is Carrie Fisher. Yeah. So Carrie Fisher She's the oldest entrant on this list. She passed away just last year at the age of 60. But a lot of you will know Carrie Fisher and what she's done for Hollywood in terms of, women's representation, both in front of the camera and behind it. I mean, she was a acclaimed script writer, script doctor, and, but obviously people know her as Princess Leia.
Yeah.
And, what she did for that kind of representation in front of the camera as well, the strong female character. And I've heard stories where she's written a lot of rewritten some of the scripts from Star Wars, like while on set, basically just having that influence, having that input. She was well loved all across. I mean, everyone from Harrison Ford, to everyone in the latest one, in The Force Awakens.
Yeah, I challenge you to find someone who doesn't love Carrie Fisher.
Absolutely.
Like, she was such an original and true person.
Yeah,
like she had no time for the celebrity bullshit of the world.
None.
She would go on to shows and speak her mind and make dirty, crass jokes and speak truth.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what I really appreciated about her, because a lot of these, I mean, you watch like these late night shows and things, and a lot of these, you can see the performance these actors are giving, like in these interviews.
Yeah.
And when you watch a Carrie Fisher interview, you know that she's just putting it all out there, and it's who she is.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, that's really what I respected and admired about her. And also, that role of Princess Leia and General Leia in the latest Star Wars film, I mean, that has had a massive impact on women around the world as well. Just empowering women to say, like, you might be a princess, but that doesn't mean you have to be a certain way. You can save yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like the amazing impact that she's had, both as Princess Leia, but also as Carrie Fisher. So, correct. Hats off to her.
Absolutely, and we definitely do miss her. She obviously would have been quite a fixture in future Star Wars films as well.
I love following her on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like, it was so funny following her.
Absolutely. And I remember one of my favorite roles of her was actually in an episode of 30 Rock, and it was good to see her alongside another strong woman in Hollywood, Tina Fey. So she's definitely been around the block, and she's been loved by so many people. And we're definitely gonna miss her.
Cool. So last on our list is the legendary Heath Ledger.
Absolutely. So Heath Ledger, a lot of people will recognize from various different roles that he's played. He's been in Brokeback Mountain. He's been in Monsters Ball. A Knight's Tale. He's been in 10 Things I Hate About You. Like, he's got so many fantastic roles that people will know, and it's not even just like he played one kind of character. He played a lot of different people.
Yeah.
One of the most intricate and also his best, in my opinion, was as the Joker in Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight. Heath Ledger kind of gave it his all. He poured everything into that role. I heard stories about him kind of isolating himself, locking himself in an apartment for like 30 days and just kind of immersing himself and working on the character's development.
True. And a lot of people say that might have led to him passing away.
Absolutely, because of the toll that it took on him
emotionally, mentally.
Absolutely. A lot of people say that was the state that he was in was one that ultimately led to his overdose, his accidental overdose.
I mean, a lot of people, there's this rhetoric that, the Joker as a character, and I mean, like, obviously from a PR perspective in terms of how amazing that character is, they try and build it up and say, be careful of playing the Joker because it will fuck you up.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I don't think it's necessarily that. I think it's more just that he was method as fuck. And,
for sure.
Like, he poured so much into the role. It could have been any role.
Yeah.
But it was a pretty intense role.
Yeah.
And the way he played it is amazing. There is a documentary coming out about Heath Ledger, actually. I Am Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
So check that out.
Yeah.
We'll link to the trailer.
Definitely.
And also, there was a Nerdwriter did a summary of one of the Batman films, and he actually picks apart Heath Ledger's performance in there.
Yeah.
It's amazing to see what he's done with that role, and you can kind of like see an artist at work.
Yeah.
So check that out. I recommend it.
Absolutely. One of the takeaways I watched the trailer for the I Am Heath Ledger documentary, and one of the main things that I heard was that one of the quotes was Heath Ledger was always a director. Acting was just a way for him to get there. And had Heath Ledger not passed away, promise you, he would have probably been one of the most amazing directors, just because he looked at film from every kind of angle, not just about immersing himself in a character, which was his main job as an actor, of course, but he had so much influence in how the film looked and how the film felt, and it would have been amazing to see what he would have done as a director if that was the avenue that he was going to go down. His last completed film, like we said, was The Joker, but he also filmed The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, which fortunately was completed thanks to Johnny Depp, Jude Law, and Colin Farrell, who kind of filled in the blanks in there. And thankfully, the film was such a film that could actually be, kind of taken into account. So Heath Ledger, who passed away at the age of 28, is definitely an actor in Hollywood that has gone too soon.
So yeah, guys, that's our list of actors in Hollywood who have passed away too soon and who had so much potential to do so much. Yeah. Let us know what you think about this list, and if there's any actors or actresses out there that you think left us too soon and that you wish you could see more of the art that they created. Yeah. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining into this episode of the BTG MovieCast Podcast. Catch us on next month's episode. In the meantime, you can find us at BTG Lifestyle on Twitter and Instagram, at facebook.com /BTG Lifestyle. You can catch me, Stephen Nagel, at The Snagel on Twitter and Instagram.
And you can find me on Twitter at Dino15. That's at DEENO15.
Thanks, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Peace.
Dodge this.
This is Sparta! I have an army. We have a Hulk.
Say hello to my little friend!